My fiancée cheated on me with her ex, my heart is broken, I still love her very much. So my wife cheated on me last week. I found out a few days later on my own. But the story is complicated and I'm struggling to know where my head is at. A year ago, I had to work during the week of our anniversary, whereas she had the whole week booked off. It turned out that she had been talking to a guy from her past. They had met several times for coffee and had been texting and exchanging nude photos. During that week she had off work while I was gone, she brought him to the house. She realized once there that she didn't want to do anything after all and tried to tell him no, but he took it as her playing around and did it anyway. I found out a couple weeks later when I found a diary she'd been writing in where she wrote about how amazing it was and how she loved the way he kissed her and held her among other things. I was heartbroken. I confronted her and she begged forgiveness, and then a few days later she explained to me how it went down and that she wrote those things to try and make herself feel better about what had happened. She admitted it all started because she was in a bad emotional place and just wanted to feel pretty and worth something. She acknowledged that it didn't make anything okay, and that she should have never done such a thing. But because of the circumstances under which everything happened, even though she had been having hot conversations and all that, I knew what had happened was an assault and I didn't hold it against her. Fast forward a few months and I find out they're talking again, but literally only talking. I got upset, and she explained that because he has a past with all her sisters she didn't want to just ghost him or cut him off because she was scared he might tell people what had happened. I tried my best to be okay with it. But then on our anniversary this year, June, I once again saw that they'd been talking and couldn't hide how upset I was. She assured me I had nothing to worry about and stood by her reasons for keeping him around. I asked if she could just stop talking to him because it was too much for me and she agreed. Then, one more time I found them talking and she got angry at me for even entertaining the idea that she'd ever let someone who did that to her anywhere near her again. I felt such guilt and shame when she put it like that, so the next time I saw they were talking I didn't say anything. I dealt with it on my own because I trusted her. In September, her birthday was coming up. I had a meal at a nice restaurant planned with us, her sister and a close friend. Her grandmother, who raised her from age 4, approached me a few days beforehand and told me she'd buy an engagement ring for me if it was what I wanted, but only on the condition that it was never found out how the ring came to be. I agreed. I've wanted nothing more than to propose for 2 years, but the money made it difficult. I proposed, she said yes, and everything felt like it was going to be okay. To this day, she doesn't know her grandmother bought the ring. In October, the day after my birthday, her grandmother passed away from cancer. It devastated both of us beyond belief. I put my own grieving aside and focused all my energy into supporting and caring for my fiancée. She hasn't been the same since. The funeral was on November 11th and it consumed both of us. I knew she'd been struggling and did whatever I could to help, whilst knowing that nothing I did could take that pain away. I just wanted to soften the blow a little. Then, last Saturday she was acting particularly strange. She stayed up far later than usual while I was in bed and was acting funny with her phone while I was up. In the early hours of Sunday morning I randomly woke up and just had a gut feeling. To be honest, I didn't even think I was going to find anything. I went on her phone with the sole intention of shutting myself up. I knew she'd been talking to him again, but I knew her reasoning and trusted her, so this time I never said anything. I just dealt with it on my own under the pretense of, she wouldn't do that after what happened, but then I found their messages. They were talking about what they'd done on Wednesday. My heart sunk. This time, it wasn't assault. It was betrayal. I woke her up immediately and confronted her. She was full of shame and guilt, she didn't know what to say. We had a long talk in which I explained why this hurt so much. The next day we were talking more, and she told me that she knew what she had done was inexcusable. She explained that on the Wednesday, which is one of her days off work, she couldn't bear to be alone as she'd usually go and see her grandmother. She needed someone there, but she didn't want anybody from the family or anything like that because she also didn't want a pity party. She just wanted company that wouldn't make her talk about how she'd been feeling. So she called him. Then, when he made a move, she felt like she'd unintentionally created the implication that something was going to happen, so she went along with it. I'm heartbroken. I don't want to leave her, I love her far too much. I just don't know how to handle all these feelings. She cut him off for good this time and showed me the proof. And she's doing everything she can to help me through this, but it hurts so much. I don't want to punish her. I don't want to be constantly telling her how miserable I am because despite everything, that doesn't feel fair. I'm not sticking around just to torture her. But every time I'm okay for a few minutes, the thoughts and the emotional pictures come flooding back. I'm sorry for the long read. I'm just looking for advice on how to handle and process these emotions, as I don't really want to tell any of my friends about it because they're her friends too, and I don't want her being looked at differently. Upon reading these comments, I want to say thank you to everyone. I don't know where my head's at, what I believe, or what I'm gonna do, but I do now have a lot to think about. To put it bluntly, you should have dumped her the first time. You constantly forgiving her tells her that she can get away with it, and that in turn has made her lose respect for you. You're not married, that's a good thing. Run as fast as you can because she is clearly not marriage material and clearly doesn't L9V you no matter what she says. It'll suck, big time, but it's the only path, otherwise you're gonna keep setting yourself up in the future. Mate, I came here to say that she's made literally hundreds of small choices to engage with this person knowing it would betray you. You can't keep explaining away her actions because you want her to love you, the way you love her. I get it, I really do. But something I learned the hard way is that you can't save people like this. You're setting yourself up for decades of pain. I've seen a couple of friends try to do it and it absolutely destroyed each and every one of them, and we're all now in our 40s. You can still love someone but know that they're no good for you. The only way for her to grow and be a better person is to not have you in her life so she takes ownership and grows. I know it's not what you want to hear, mate, but it's what you need to hear. I'm sorry you're in pain. Dude, from the description of the story, she was not assaulted. She sent him naked pictures, invited him to her home. She did it with him, describes in her diary that it was wonderful, but when confronted she cries, aggression. She keeps talking to him for reasons. She invites him back and they do it physically again. You don't want to punish her. Why? Because she is punishing you. She tells you a story and you buy it, even though all the evidence tells a completely different story. When your actions and what you say are different, believe the actions. Okay. I don't believe she was assaulted. Who keeps in touch with their alpha male and willingly comes back for more? Not to mention she was saying how great it was. But hey, you know more, I'm not in the situation, so do what you feel is best. I can say that in personal journals not once did I refer to it as anything other than a horrible experience. I didn't say it publicly because I didn't want people to despise me, but in my own private descriptions of the experience it was bad and I couldn't rub it in enough to get that dirty feeling off. She lied to you. The real question is, do you live the person she pretends to be? Or do you live the person who lies to your face, actively betrays you, and the person who thinks so little of you that she has relationships with others and then lies about her aggression? If the answer is that you love who she pretends to be, then you don't live her but a character she plays. Separate the two in your mind and accept that who she pretends to be is not real, mourn the loss of that person and begin to accept who she really is. This makes it easier to move on and harder for you to lie to yourself about who she is. She was not 100% assaulted. No person lies to their diary about what has happened to them to make themselves feel better. They might do that with friends but not in a diary. She 100% lied to you so you wouldn't be mad at her. And, as others have said, his reasoning for keeping in touch with the guy was a bad idea. If he had assaulted her, she wouldn't want anything to do with her. She has been having an affair this entire time. Like ordinary pirate said, it ended the second she entertained the dude the first time. She could give 2sh*ts about you and your feelings. She is only sorry she's been caught, several times I might add. Realize you are the nice plan B in her story. Start to become the protagonist of your own story where she is but a distance footnote. Talk to your friends and tell it all. Consider this: if this was your son, what would you tell him? Sorry you are in this, but I wish you good luck, buddy.